Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We bring you stories of faith, love, and devotion. Yeah, just kidding, please help us grow by hitting that like button. Now on to the story. What did she expect? Rant. I was on an infidelity support forum and was reading a BW's post. I triggered pretty ducking hard when I read the post. She admitted to cheating on her fiancé, who was dying of cancer, and then ended up dating and marrying her AP. She is shocked to find that her WH/AP would cheat and abuse her. Now she is playing up the victimhood of being cheated on. What did she expect? She married the person she was cheating with. She knew what she was getting into. The wouldn't do it to me thing that happens really does perplex me. Is it arrogance? Hubris? Either way, it puts a whole lot of trust in someone that just by the nature of the relationship itself cannot be trusted. It is a mixture of ignorance and hope. At least in my case. Just read my comments below. If you've got any questions, just go ahead, smile. Look up the projection. A person projects what they are missing in their own self into the other: comfort, spice, sexiness. They actually can't see the AP as they truly are, but when you get married to the AP and brush your teeth next to that person or hear them pass gas or they do something that is continually annoying to you, the projection melts away. Something I've gathered based on the excuses and the thinking patterns of cheaters: they're mostly just dumb. They follow a fantasy, say things that don't make sense, and are aghast when their partners want to divorce them. This what? Emoji was probably created for them, shocked face. Let me relay a story, all true. My ex cheated on me. I found out, confronted, and started divorce. While we were going through the motions, we continued to be civil and watched TV shows we had been watching. One show, Criminal Minds, an episode dealt with a cheater and someone taking their revenge on said cheater, and ex speaks up and says, "I don't like him," and I just casually say, "Oh, why?" And she says, "Because he's a cheater," and then suddenly realizes who she is talking to and never says another word the rest of the show. Honestly, cheaters don't think straight, don't reason straight, and do some of the most amazing mental gymnastics to justify their actions to themselves that it's quite astounding. Olympic gymnasts would be jealous if cheaters could do those gymnastics for real. So am I surprised by your question of this person cheating and then crying that they were cheated on? Heck no, in her mind what she did wasn't wrong, and according to her no one would ever think to cheat on her, because that's just not how people should treat her/sarcasm. Karma is a very twisted thing at times and I fully enjoy it. Most waywards don't understand one simple fact. If you'll cheat with me, you'll cheat on me. My wife hated cheaters and would let her opinions be known whenever affairs came up. Then she became one. But she still hated cheaters. She just couldn't say it out loud anymore. From my experience and observation, about 95% of cheaters actually dislike or hate cheating. They almost always, I would say always in my observation, but I'm sure there must be an exception somewhere, believe their particular situation is special, which warrants them, and them alone, to cheat. Other cheaters do not get a pass, only them. Most of them feel regret, if not initially, at least later on. Sometimes they don't show any regret until they get exposed. In my career, I've dealt with wrongdoers of various types, and this is kind of a more broad psychological aspect of all wrongdoing. The ones who do it believe it is wrong. For example, stealing. People believe stealing is wrong. But when they do it, they almost always have a special reason that makes it okay for them, in this particular situation only. Almost always, the wrongdoing comes from opportunity. It is not sought out by the wrongdoer, but kind of falls into their lap. Most of us drive, I would assume. When you drive way too fast, or whatever else, don't you think to yourself, "I don't like this in others, but my reason this time is XXXXX. My tendency is to do that." Then there is the other 5%. Think of Madoff. They seek it out, they try to figure out new ways. It is a lifestyle. A criminal enterprise. For cheaters, it's the ones who make a decision to live that lifestyle, find affair partners after affair partners. They know to hide it to others, or only to discuss their operations with others of similar mind. Story 2. Girlfriend of 4 years has been cheating on me with my brother. Advice. Been with this girl for 4 years. She was a work colleague, I have since moved jobs, that I asked out one day. She has recently started going back into work, but the company I work for still requires me to stay at home, so I have had a little more time on my own at home. Yesterday in the afternoon I was hoovering in our bedroom. I had the duster out and was moving some random stuff down from the top of her cabinet/wardrobe thing so I could get all the cobwebs, and I ended up finding an ancient Motorola phone. Originally I thought it must have been an old phone that was no longer in use, so I decided to power it on in case it still worked, as I figured it might be a decent shout to put it on eBay and get a couple quid back from it. To my surprise, it worked fine and had almost 80% charge, which was odd. Guessed the right PIN number and started browsing around the phone. Eventually I opened the gallery app and the first thing I was greeted with was a bunch of pictures of her with my brother, the sort of romantic pics you would take if you were in a relationship. I scroll down and it turns out that this has been going on a fair time, as I am greeted with a 25-minute sex tape they made 2 years back. Needless to say I was livid. As soon as I had put everything back, the first thing I did was start smoking. I am not a smoker. Only thing I could think to do was meet up with a good mate of mine and tell him about it. I would have seen my brother if he wasn't the one shagging her. Mate just said that I should dump her and disown my brother basically. I ended up sleeping on his couch for the night. Spoke to my girlfriend briefly over the phone and just made up something about planning a last-minute trip with said friend to a city up north. Haven't told either one yet that I know what they have been doing. Honestly not sure what to do. Part of me wants to try and work something out, part of me wants to find the most painful way possible to break up with her, and the other part of me wants to go and dropkick my so-called brother out of a window somewhere. I am just lost for words, TBH, not even about knowing my girlfriend for 4 years and having her do this to me, but knowing my brother 23 years, he is a year younger than me, and having him do this to me. I mean, my brother has a pregnant wife as well. Do I tell her? Genuinely lost right now. What should I do? Get tested for STDs. I don't have a brother, but if a friend, and I can count them on one hand, did that, he would be dead. Me. She's gone. Out of your life, total North Carolina. Make sure you are not entangled financially with her, at all. If her name is not on the lease, mortgage, bye-bye. Bag up all her stuff, and leave it outside. When the questions start rolling in, like a tidal wave, and they will, you can, after you've calmed down, tell them the truth, or tell them it's none of their business. Also the truth. 6a, if they press the issue and try and paint you as the bad guy. Full, friggin', disclosure. Disclose, with extreme prejudice. I would tell the brother that I discovered I have HIV and apparently got it 6 months ago. Let him squirm for a couple of days. Then tell him I know the truth, tell his wife, and then cut contact forever. To her I wouldn't say anything. Just move out or tell her to get out. Holy shit, this is the answer. That is absolutely brilliant. I would go one further, and say he hasn't been tested in a few years, so he's wondering how he could have possibly gotten it. Plus he could make it like he's coming to his brother to get support on how to tell his girlfriend about it. Just so that the brother feels even more conflicted. Once the truth comes out about Op's HIV status, the brother won't have any moral way to try and guilt Op for Op lying to him. The HIV lie is a nice touch. Okay, so I'll say I don't really recommend this, but my friend went through the exact same thing and this is what he did, full of drama. He got all the evidence, sex tapes, pics etc., from her Amy's phone and saved them to his phone. My friend invited friends, we all knew what he was planning beforehand, his close family, his brother's actual girlfriend Claire, and Amy's family to a backyard gathering/barbecue. He quietly tells his family that he's proposing and his brother Ryan, being the snake he is, didn't tell him about sleeping with Amy for months because obviously the whole family is right next to him. My friend made a long speech about how much he loved Amy and was honest and faithful to her, and couldn't wait for the future. He pulls out a ring box, was actually empty, and everyone's gasping and cheering, except the friends who know Amy cheated, and he points to a projector hooked up with a slideshow of pictures of him and Amy on vacation, dates, etc. Then he changes the slideshow to pictures of Amy and Ryan, which then changed to the sex tape. Legally I don't think he could have actually shared the whole thing, but he shared the beginning, which was them kissing and starting to take off clothes, and then the end of them in bed together once the covers were pulled over them. At this point Ryan's freaking out because Claire is hysterically crying, Amy's family is shocked, there was a whole lot of shouting from my friend's family at Ryan, Amy's father screams at her while she's grabbing onto my friend's shirt and begging for forgiveness, and my friend just gets his shit together and walks out. We stayed for a few more minutes before it started getting really awkward for us to stand amongst the carnage. P.S. I don't recommend this in your instance because the wife is pregnant and it's unfair to her too. But I would approach the wife first and say you have seen evidence that your brothers have been cheating on her for years with your girlfriend. Then break up with your girlfriend. I would honestly disown your brother too. What happened after this? What's all of their relationships like now? I'm invested, eyes, smiley face. Smiley face, smiley face. This happened about 4 years ago. My friend met a new girl, they got married and have a baby on the way. Honestly the most perfect family and she is amazing for him. He hasn't spoken to Ryan since that day, even though Ryan still sends him birthday/Christmas cards etc. and asks for forgiveness. Ryan and Claire broke up. Claire's doing well now, owns her own business and has a boyfriend. Claire's dad was actually Ryan's boss, so he got fired. Her family is one of the richer ones in our town, so when Claire's dad spread the word it became very hard for Ryan to get a well-paying job. Ryan, my friend's parents, are the only ones in their family that still talk to him and they don't talk to him often. Ryan is probably a borderline alcoholic now, always at bars, is the creepy guy that hits on girls that wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. Generally he's just miserable, but, karma, woman shrugging. Amy's dad kicked her out shortly after. Amy's parents divorced because her mom cheated and her dad was emotionally destroyed by that. He can't even talk about Amy without getting red in the face and angry. Amy moved in with her mom, who got nothing in the divorce, so they live in a small one-bed apartment on the outskirts of town. She still tries to talk to my friend sometimes. He's blocked her on everything, so she asks what friends she has left to pass messages along to him. He went and got a North Carolina order served to her, so that stopped recently. We live in a smallish town, so word spreads quickly and no one really talks to her anymore aside from a few friends she's had since high school. Damn, that was a very satisfying ending. Glad they got karma and glad the victims in this situation are doing well, smiley face. Oh, so am I. I didn't think it would turn out well, it was really scary for a while. My friend had to go to a mental health facility after almost drinking himself to death in the first few days after this happened. Someone found him in time, thank God. He kind of snapped out of it when he was released from the facility because he realized nothing was worth that amount of stress. He's an amazing person. It's incredible how one very bad decision can change the lives of so many people. I'm happy that everything turned out well for him, but sad for everyone else whose life got ruined, even if they deserved. It was an unnecessary turn of events. If only they had the sense to be decent people. Story 3. Stupidity knows no bounds. This is one of the cheating stories that I've come across over the years. I knew this guy, let's call him Tim, Atlanta, who took on 2 jobs, so his wife, age 48, let's call her Sarah, could go back to school to get her master's in 2 years and get a job doubling her current salary. Going into the final year of school, there were class group projects, in which the group would meet at their house. Well, the group got smaller from 8 to 6 and then to 2, her and a young man. Well, it turns out that the members weren't comfortable meeting at their home because of what was going on between the young and Tim's wife. Well, the young man hit on one of the formal members' girlfriends. They got into a little fight. He called the dude a pussy and that he could have that slut anytime he wanted to. The girlfriend had enough, so she went to Tim's home early the next morning around 7 a.m. and pushed the doorbell. When Tim answered, she said she was a classmate of his wife and that she wanted to talk to him and Sarah. He said his wife was sleeping. She had a long night working on the school project. She said, I know she had long night, but she won't be working any more long night school projects. He got his wife the moment his Sarah saw her. She started telling her to get the duck out of her house. So Tim said that she needed to leave. The young man said, I mainly came here to see you and I asked for her to be here because I didn't want to talk about her behind her back. Sarah said not to believe anything the young lady said because she's just a jealous little bitch. The young lady, jealous of what? My grades are better than yours, I will go to work in my mother's company, I have a man that I don't cheat on. His wife said, well, I got a job waiting on me too and a great husband. The young asked, do you cheat on you? Tim looked at his wife and asked, well? She just started yelling at the young lady, calling her a jealous little bitch and to get the duck out of her house. The young lady handed him an envelope that contained printouts of texts and pictures exchanged between Sarah and the young male. She asked for his email so could email him 15 videos of ducking the young man, with 5 videos of them ducking in their home and 3 of which she was ducking too young in their home. Sarah, how did you get those? She said to the young man that you are ducking, been selling those videos since last school year. Tim told me, man, that ho said she could explain. He said, man, I was laughing so hard that the young lady backed up and was looking at me like I was crazy. He asked the young lady if he could buy her breakfast and she could tell him anything if you like. He left Sarah standing there screaming and crying that she could explain. He blocked her. Call her mother and send her the videos and for her to get her daughter out of his house. His mother-in-law called him back. Sarah was in the hospital for attempting suicide. He said he was done with her and filing for divorce. We hope that by sharing these stories with interested folks like you, we can help people recognize the signs of a relationship in trouble, and avoid so many of these heartbreaking situations yourselves. Have a good day or night, wherever you are.